And so this gets to the technical and the logistical issues that the level, right? And as it turns out, we have historically understood wealth as minerals in the ground, trees in the forest, oil in the well, right?
Resources, right?
Resources, physical resources. And what I would like to do is suggest that wealth actually is energy. And the reason that wealth is energy is because if we have the energy and the technology, which we have, we can do things. We can extract ores. We can recycle ores. We can do all sorts of things, okay? The ore has been here all along. We haven't been able to do anything with it until we had the energy to actually, dig it up and melt it and make stuff out of it, okay?
Right.
So essentially, all the ore that we ever had is still here, minus what we've sent off into space, a few kilograms on the Voyager, right? Okay, right. And so we can still get at it if we have the energy and the technology, which is the issue. So the energy is our wealth.
Right.
And right now we are spending energy capital. Capital being a finite supply that we have in a bank. We have a finite supply of oil, finite supply of coal. We can talk about, oh gosh, we got hundreds of years coal. We'll get back to that. Okay. Okay. But we have a finite supply that we're spending. It's easy to go to the bank, draw out some capital, and spend it, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do any work, right?
Yeah.
Except go push the ATM buttons, right? But anybody in business will tell you that you can't run a business on capital. You got to earn. You got to have earned income.
Retained earnings.
You got to have retained earnings.
Right.
Otherwise, you're SOL, right?
That's it.
So the energetic equivalent is that we need to be collecting and capturing energy on an ongoing basis, earned energy, and that is sunlight and its derivatives,
solar and wind.
And wind is probably, in my opinion, just off, on aside, wind is going to be the big one. I think Makani Solar, Saul Griffiths has got it wired. We'll see.
Great.
But it's there. We can do it. And it's a source of wealth. We can do that here in Maine. Every year in Maine, we spend about $3 billion on energy. Most of that, almost all of it, goes out of state. We lose $3 billion a year in our economy that we could be keeping here. We could be spending that money on infrastructure that captures energy, wind, solar, tide, currents, whatever you want to talk about, biomass, and spending that money in our economy and not losing it. Okay.
Right.
So even if it costs exactly the same, even if it costs more than fossil fuels, it's still a win, right? Because we're keeping the money here, right? Okay.
Right.
It's not
helping
an economic
to boost
drain.
our lagging economy.
That's right. Exactly. And it represents a huge economic opportunity. There's $3 billion lying on the floor, waiting for someone to scoop up in the state of Maine, essentially.
Right.
So it's a great economic opportunity. So this is sort of the nexus of these two pieces that I'm talking about. We have the technology. Improving the performance of our buildings is a key one, and capturing earned energy is the other one. Those are the two big pieces. Now we've got some pieces. Storing energy is a problem that's coming along. We're going to get there, but most of the pieces are in place. There's a lot that we can do now. What I try to convey is that we're not talking about, and it's actually been a successful disinformation campaign, going green is costly, okay? It's not costly, it's profitable, and there's money to be made, and we need to understand that in order to get us moving in advance of the catastrophe.
Right, that's it.
Okay, right? And
that's a motivator that will precede like a psyche change. It's a profit motivator.
Correct. That is correct.
Right.
That is correct.
Way to get big business on board.
That's right. And we aren't going to get anywhere economically if we don't do this. We can take the climate issue out of the picture, and our economics are in trouble because we are spending more than we're making. We aren't making value anywhere. How are we going to create wealth in this country? How are we going to create value? Well, we spend $300 billion a year on energy out of country, on imported oil. That's just imported oil.
Right.
And that was 2006. It varies year to year. Okay. Could we do with the $300 billion a boost per year to our economy? I think so. Be in
Where
good
we're
shape,
at.
right? So we need to start making something in this country again. And if you say, well, what is it of value that we can make? The answer is energy. Energy
it.
is wealth. Let's start capturing it. And we are. And if we don't, our economy is gone independent of the climate. Independent of the climate piece. It happens that they're aligned. Let's go, boys and girls, right?
That's it.
We got to take this on both angles. It is not being moral or virtuous that we're talking about. It's survival, and it's not saving the planet. It's not saving life on the planet. It's saving civilization. The mechanisms for doing so are not only economically profitable; they're economically required if we expect to survive.